Hey, what's going on? It's Ian Hart here with EarthFitTraining.com, and a lot of people ask us about conditioning, strength, exercising, and what's the best way to do it, and why do we choose our training system. And I'm going to go through what a good training program looks like, and I'm going to go over the reasons why and some of the definitions that we talk about on a daily basis that people ask about, so they get a clearer picture and more clarity on what they're doing and why they're doing it. And people come to us and ask, why do we do hurricanes? Why do we do metabolic training? Why do we do strength training, etc., etc.? And so I'm going to break a little bit of that down here right now. But before we do that, the three things that almost all fitness programs should have in them are strength, conditioning, and mobility. And those terminology, you can have different definitions. I'm going to go over the definition that I'm speaking about in terms of fitness right now today. And basically, strength is extremely important for building lean muscle mass. That's the number one reason that people come in to do an assessment here. They sit down, we ask them what they want, and they say, well, I want to make my arms look tighter or stronger. Basically, they want more lean muscle and they want to burn fat. This is essential for that. And so what is strength? Strength is the maximal force that you can apply against a load. And so how do we increase our strength? Well, when you look up the definition as in fitness, it says lifting weights, but really it doesn't have to be weight. It's just lifting heavy things. We lift weights in the gym because that's mimicking what you might do on the outside. That's what we're training for, essentially. And we increase the resistance. So that is the biggest component to it, is you to get stronger, you have to increase the resistance. So if you come in and you lift a 20-pound kettlebell, next week you might have to lift a 30-pound kettlebell depending on your training program, and then 50, 60, etc. And then most people get to a point and they say, oh, it's too heavy. Nothing's too heavy. As long as you're programming and training properly and increasing the resistance at a safe capacity, you're just going to get stronger. And then there's a point where you might, people can't lift 700, 800 pounds like that. It takes time and years to get there. So there is a point where maybe it's going to be a lot on your body, but essentially to increase strength, you have to increase resistance. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about strength. So if you're the person that says, it's too heavy, keep in mind your body has the ability to lift a lot more than you're even thinking, provided that you're in the proper position, and it really comes down to how many reps can you do, right? So if you on a strength day and you only do 5 reps of a weight that's 20, 50 pounds higher than what you're normally used to, that's totally fine. You're increasing your strength when you do that. So in a strength day, it's okay to do less reps and more weight. You're still going to get the result, and when you increase the weight, you are now connecting your brain to the motor units in your body and recruiting deeper muscle fibers, and that's where the strength comes from. You're strengthening your nervous system. Conditioning. Conditioning includes most of these things that are listed here. There's strength, endurance, aerobic, and anaerobic capacity. So those would be our metabolic and hurricane days. Essentially what we're doing is more repetition, maybe a little bit lighter weights, and then we're also increasing the type of work that you're doing, the intensity of work, let's say, right? So when you go for a sprint, your heart rate spikes up a lot faster, you're activating the glutes, and it's a core movement. So you're incorporating a bunch of different things, and when then you combine that in other exercises that include the total body, it creates a certain stimulus. And it incorporates all aspects of those. And then lastly, which we do incorporate in our programs, but not purposefully, I should say, that's why we have videos where people should come in and do the mobility exercises before training, because this is an extremely important aspect to it. So, mobility is the degree, hopefully someone gets that phone, the degree to which an articulation is allowed to move before being restricted. So I'm just going to say that again. The degree to which an articulation is where two bones meet. So right, two bones are meeting. The articulation is allowed to move before being restricted by surrounding tissue. So i.e. ligaments, tendons, muscle, etc. As we age, typically mobility goes down, but it won't go down if you're practicing mobility. And strength and endurance will be much harder to achieve if you have decreased mobility. That's a general way of saying it, but for the most part, increasing your mobility will help you out with everything else that we're doing, and will also reduce the chance of injury. So what we do is have people do mobility exercises before they work out as a part of their warm-up, and then they'll go into the strength and conditioning. But it's very important to include all of these, and a lot of times the people who need the mobility stuff the most aren't doing it. So if you don't incorporate the mobility stuff into your program, I highly recommend doing mobility exercises, and something as simple as arm circle rotations, and really thinking about the movement so that you're increasing the range of motion throughout the joint so that the articulation is allowed to move more freely. The bones can move more freely. All right, so here we go. That's 3 aspects of your training program that typically should be included to maximize your health and fitness. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you understand our program as well better, and hope you have a good day.